If you want to learn how to make a full stack web application, but you want to make it without writing any code, let me teach you how to use AppSheet. There's a link below for this full project. You can also get a sample in the video that's coming for you to see what the course is like. If you click that link, it's going to give you a month free to Skillshare where you can access a ton of other educational courses as well as mine, and enjoy the rest of the video. So let's go ahead and start building this out by defining what pieces of data or information we want to gather. So go to Google Sheets. Let's go ahead and start a new blank spreadsheet. All right, once we get in here, I'm going to go ahead and give you these columns we're going to put across the first row. I'm just going to paste them in here. And you can go ahead and pause this video and go ahead and copy and paste these from the guide that I'll have in the resource links or linked below this video, depending on where you're watching. Or you can just pause the screen and just type all these out. Okay, now that you've gotten those all put in here in your spreadsheet just like mine, let's do a little housekeeping. We'll just give your sheet a name so it's something other than untitled spreadsheet, just so you can find it later. So we'll say building app training video. That's for me, right? Okay, so then I'm going to go through and let's real quick explain some of the fields. All right, so let's explain what each of these columns do for us and why we added them in here. So first and foremost, we got our invoice ID. So this is just going to serve as our primary key for every entry that's going to come in here. So each of these rows is going to be an entry by itself. So eventually one day we're going to have, hundreds and hundreds of entries in this app in theory. So each one of these is going to have an ID and it'll just be a string of random characters. So it'll be something like this. And this is just dummy data just to sort of give you a perspective on what it might look like. Okay. And then the amount. So the amount is the dollar amount. That's specifically the amount of money in the invoice. So this might be 600, 8,000, 56, and 1. These are all valid values for the amount. These are all going to be dollars, but we don't have to format it specifically in the sheet. We'll format it on the other end in AppSheet. So description. Okay, so this is going to be what our invoice is referring to. So we'll say goods, services, just because I feel like it. All right, so this is whatever the reason is behind the actual invoice. All right, the date issued. So the date issued is going to be the date that the invoice was given out. So let's just say that was 8/12/21, right? And then the due date, we'll just say that that's 30 days later. So let's say that's not doing the exact math, but 9/12/21, right? So we'll say all of our invoices are due 30 days out in this scenario. So something like this will be the case for the date. Let's drag those down. We'll just say that every day we're working and issuing a new invoice, which is due 30 days out every time. So customer email. So dan@mail.com, bob@mail.com. These are just the customer's email. This is important because this is who we're actually going to send the reminders to. Customer phone number 777-5555, right? So let's say that's a phone number. Billing team email. So this is the email of the billing team. So we'll say us@ourcompany.com, right? The date paid, that's going to be a date, but it's not going to be filled in unless something is paid. So we'll just remember that that is there only if these are paid. So if this was paid, we'll say that this was, let's say they paid it late. Be like, maybe they paid on the 15th after we were like, hey, where's our money? There's that. And then the status. The status is going to be one of two values. So the status of the payment is going to be unpaid or paid. In this case, we should do paid unpaid, right? And the invoice link, that's just going to be the link to the third-party solution for invoice payment capture that you have. A lot of people create invoices through PayPal or some other solution. So we'll just say like paypalinvoice.com, and that'll be the invoice link. That'll be where the customer actually goes to pay the money that actually ends up going into your company's bank account, or your bank account if you're the company, right? So this is what all these fields mean, and this is some data that we can use to work with. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to fill all of these out, mainly in like these spaces, just so that I have a variety of data. I want to have some paid stuff that's overdue, some paid stuff that was paid on time, and then like 2 unpaids. So I'm going to set that up real quick. All right, so there's all the dummy data right in there. Good to go. What we can do now is we can move forward to actually building out the app now that we have this dummy data to play with, and we'll be adding some more as we go along.